Welcome to the Creative Leadership Network, known as TCLN. I am IBK. Thank you for joining me today. Listen, today is going to be special. This is a special episode. There is so much going on. As you guys know, Trump did an interview with 60 Minutes Overtime, and he sat down with Nora O. McDonald. Nora O. McDonald. And he had some things to say, and we're going to go over that. We're also going to go over layoffs. There's going to be a lot of layoffs coming up when it comes to Amazon and when it comes to UPS. So, guys, you want to be looking into that, right? Also, let's talk about this SNAP program. Now, even though there were two federal judges that ordered that Trump needs to go ahead and tap into emergency funding for November, do you understand that? For November, so that things could be covered because there would be too many families affected. We need to talk about this. We need to discuss this because at the end of the day, guys, believe it or not, this has been going on way longer than Trump has been in the office. They've been talking about this for a very, very long time. I'm telling you, almost 20 something years ago, I remember the conversation, and I'm going to bring that to you, okay? And then we're going to let's talk about the airlines feeding their employees because of the shutdown. They're trying to accommodate and feed them. And what I want to ask is that enough? Airlines make a lot of money. Is that enough? Is that enough for these employees who are working and they are providing services for people who are traveling and they're not getting paid? So all of that coming up right here on TCLN Network. Stay with me. This is a place where I love to educate, to elevate, so that we go from situations to solutions. And not only that, each election year, every 4 years, also presidential, we are more informed, we are more inspired, more than ever to take action and to make things better in this country, in this nation as a whole.
Never stop, I'll get it if I want it. Gotta make to myself a promise. I won't quit, keep going till I got it. I won't give up till I'm on top, yeah. You know I'm always honest. There ain't no way I'm ever stopping till I'm on top, yeah.
And I believe that system has messed us over because remember, when you practice something over and over and over, you're sowing more seeds and more seeds, and it's becoming worse and worse and worse. And that's what it's done over the years. So that's just my input on that, right? Let me get on down here where I want to talk about some stories that popped off in CBS on October the 28th. So this was like this is just past right here, October 28th. These stories are important, right? So there were 25 states that sued Trump administration over the SNAP food stamp freeze. 25 states, right? A coalition of officials from half of the states and the District of Columbia sued Trump administration on Tuesday over the suspension of food stamp benefits amid the ongoing government shutdown, as millions of Americans brace for a disruption in federal food aid in the coming days. Now, you know the update is that the two federal judges ordered that, hey, something needs to be done. These states included California, New York, Pennsylvania, and they were asking the federal judge in Massachusetts to order the Department of Agriculture to provide benefits through Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program for November. Let's stop there. Guys, whether we recognize this or not, if you are, let's just say you about 30 and on up, right? Let's just say you 30, 40, 50 on up. If you've ever been on Section 8, or if you've ever been on food stamps, or if you've ever been around those who have, you know that there have been talks for a very, very long time. I know many, many talks that the Section 8 was not going to be around, so that you needed to take advantage. You need to go to school. You need to do something. It's something that you need to do. You understand what I'm saying? We know that the jobs are just up in the air and all this kind of stuff. You can tell with the AI that has came in, and I'm going to discuss that a little bit more later because we definitely need to get into that. 25,000 jobs, Amazon, corporate jobs, 20 something thousand jobs, UPS. Listen, guys, all of this stuff is happening, right? So with this thing that we're dealing with food stamps, we really have to be thinking that, let's just say they temporarily fixed it. Then what? It's going to happen again. It's going to end up happening again. Whether Trump is in office or he's not in office, it may take some time, it may take some years, but it's going to end up happening again. Then what? What are you going to be doing? I heard somebody say this before. I forget the person's name. I think he's a comedian, but I heard him say this before. He said there are the two most important days of your life: the day that you're born, and then the day that you find out why. And then there's another component, the dash in between. Like, what did you do after you were born and then before you died? What's that dash? And I want to apply that to SNAP and Section 8 and all these different type of governmental assistance programs where the fundings are just dried, guys. I don't care what nobody say. We in trillions of dollars worth of debt. We all know that we are living on borrowed time and borrowed money. Do you understand that? And some of these states have been mismanaging money, mismanaging budgets. It's a lot of stuff that's been going on, right? And as individuals, some people like to say the survival of the fittest. Some people like to say all kind of stuff. I like to say that God gave us a brain, a mind, and a spirit. You understand what I'm saying? And we need to be seeking our Creator, saying, what do we need to be doing as a people? Whether it's individual, whether it's your family together, whether it's a company or a corporation or whatever, that we make things so much better for ourselves that we don't need those services. You understand what I'm saying? And when those types of things happen, we will be in a position that we can help others instead of, if it all goes downhill, then nobody can help each other, period. You understand what I'm saying? Like, everybody's all kind of messed up, right? Because believe it or not, a lot of people had like a lot of blacks on TikTok, like talking about the food stamps and this and this and that and all the energy that was being sold. But I'm here to tell you, there are so many white people that's on SNAP benefits. There are so many. Listen, guys, I've lived in California on and off for 8 years. I remember going up to the SNAP office maybe about a year ago. I didn't see no black people. I saw, and I was in the middle of Los Angeles, honey. I saw so many different races, so many different nationalities, so many foreigners. You understand what I'm saying? Like, people that couldn't even speak English. We're not talking about like your regular like Hispanics, Latinas, or Asians. They've been here for many years in this country. We're talking about people from Russia, all different kinds of places, and they were getting assistance. In California, you don't just get the SNAP program, you get what's called the financial aid too. So that's that GR, called General Relief. And guys, it's like crazy. It's crazy. You'd be surprised. It is crazy what's going on in this country. It is wild, right? And my question is like, we got to do something different. If they were to shut down Section 8, I didn't say they were, I said if they were to shut it down 6 months from now, what would you do? What would you do? For some of you, that question may be very scary, depending on where you at. For others of you, you may be like, oh, I'm doing pretty good. I'm starting to make money online. I'm starting to do this and this and that. What would you do if they shut down things online? What would you do if they shut down TikTok? What would you do if YouTube rolled over? What ideas would you come up with? What master plans would you come up with? Which is leading me into, let's talk about this, guys. I wanted to say, when it comes to this SNAP thing, a lot of people want to say, oh, Trump this, he's horrible. He's the worst president. How could he do this? A, B, C, D, F, G. But guys, I'm telling you, this has been going on long before Trump. I remember 20 years ago, they were talking about shutting down Section 8, talking about y'all better get yourselves together now. Y'all better be thinking of master plans. There's a lot y'all need to be thinking of, because there's going to come a time this Section 8 is not going to be here. A lot of these programs going to be cut. They've been saying it for years, guys. Even way back in the early 2000s. late 1990s, late 19, like 1997, 98. They've been saying this a long time. And when I asked myself this question, I said, who is responsible? Who's responsible when it comes to all of this? Is the government responsible? Are we responsible? Are other people responsible? Who are responsible? And I really sat down and I was thinking to myself, I said, every last single one of us, every last single one of us are responsible. Because those who get the benefits need to understand that the truth be told, that there is a certain level to where your government should see after you, especially if you're a taxpayer. There is a certain place where your government should have some type of funding in place just in case emergencies happen, or just in case things happen, or disabilities, all kinds of things can happen, right? And so there need to be contingency funds and all kind of fundings in place. But we also have to look at our personal lives. If we know that we cannot afford and we don't have the great jobs and the great money, why do we keep having children? Why do we keep having babies? Why do we keep getting pregnant by people? Do you understand what I'm saying? That don't want no babies. Like, we hold the responsibility too. And abortions is not the answer. Going terminating babies in wombs is not the answer. The answers is that we need to think better and do better and respect ourselves more. If we know that we can barely feed ourselves, then why are we going to be so selfish to just have sex because you just want to feel good and lay down and make babies that you can't afford to take care of, and we can barely afford to feed ourselves? Then you're putting a burden on taxpayers. Then you're putting a burden on the government, on the system, on future finances, on future contingency funds. Because now everybody got to raise your kids for the next 4, 5, 6. We're responsible too. And the government is responsible. States are responsible. You don't just be getting taxpayers' monies and getting all this stuff, and then you're not managing and budgeting correctly. You are just as responsible. And Washington, you is too. So when I looked at it, I said, we all are. We all are. And I really do believe that there needs to be a thing put in place, some type of initiative or some type of program that really teaches adults to learn how to either, number one, keep your legs closed when you ain't ready to have no children, or number two, let's teach you how to value yourself so that you can respect yourself more, or you need to use some type of protection. Because you can't just keep popping babies. That goes with immigration too. There are people that think, oh, okay, I just want a foothold. I'm just going to have babies so then I can just stay in America. No, it don't work like that either. People need to stop it. We're all responsible. All of us, no matter who we are. So I just wanted to touch on that before I move on. Now, we're going to be talking about CBS Money Watch, Amazon cutting 14,000 jobs as retailing giant embraces AI. But right now, let's stick with Amazon. Let's talk about Amazon, guys. This is important. Amazon on Tuesday said that it is cutting 14,000 corporate jobs as retailing giant relies more on artificial intelligence and move to lower its wage bill. Earlier this year, CEO Andy Jassy said that Amazon investments in AI tools would allow the company to reduce its human workforce as the business becomes more efficient. Now, I want you to listen to what I'm actually reading off, because when you listen with a good ear, you're going to listen to the heart of people, right? So let me read this again. Earlier this year, CEO Andy Jassy said Amazon's investment in AI tools would allow the company to reduce its human workforce as a business becomes more efficient. Beth Galletti, Senior Vice President of People Experience and Technology on Tuesday said in a message shared with workers that the job cuts would allow Amazon to operate like the world's largest startup. What we need to remember is that the world is changing quickly, she added. This generation of AI is the most transformative technology we've seen since the internet, and it's enabling companies to innovate much faster than ever before in existing markets, segments, and altogether new ones. You guys get that? So this is going to be on YouTube. It's going to air on Austin Public, but it's also going to be on YouTube, guys. So if you need to get a earpiece of that again, hit up over there on YouTube, because you know you can stop, pause, go back and listen. But most of all, you can hit up the article also at CBS Money Watch. And the name of the article is Amazon Cutting 14,000 Jobs as the Retailing Giant Embraces AI. Okay, by Amy Picky or something like that. PICCHI. Okay, let's talk about this, guys. I like AI, but I believe that AI, if you're not careful, is not really the problem. I believe that if you're not careful, greed can be the problem, and self-centeredness and selfishness can be the problem. Because if you go back and really listen to what I just read off, none of that was concerned about the employees. All of that was concerned about what these particular people want, right? And when I look at this, it makes me say, it reminds me of Beyonce's song. To the left, everything you own in the box. To the left, don't ever get to thinking that you irreplaceable. You know when they fire you in corporate America, they had a little box up there and they put all your stuff in there and they put you out to the left, you know. Let me like the exit door right here, you know. When I think of all these Americans and all these jobs, like I said, UPS is cutting 34,000. Amazon 14,000. And remember, they have deals together. All these people have deals together, these transports, right? And I'm thinking to myself, what are all these people going to do? Surely they're going to be able to suffice for a minute, because if some of them were able to, they were able to save a little bit if they could, especially if they were working in corporate America. Some of them may have some type of savings, some type of stuff. But if not finding a job right away, or if they're not coming up with creative entrepreneur ideas or something, that money will run out. It's just that simple. That money would eventually run out. And it just makes you think that when I look at AI, I think AI is cool. I think it's cool for research. I think it's cool for enhancement of things. But I don't think it's cool when you're replacing people, especially at such short notices like that, and the way the economy is. Guys, I just want to remind you, if you are a person, you going to college, or if you're a person, you're not in college, you're just thinking of business ideas right now, please think of ways that you can make companies where you hire people, where you give people opportunities. I'm saying that from the bottom of my heart. Think of expansion. Start small. You may have to start with you and AI, research, all that kind of stuff. But have this big mindset to where you really want to employ people. I don't care if it's a team of 10. You understand what I'm saying? That's 10 people that have better lives. You understand what I'm saying? I don't care if it's a team of 100. That's 100 people who have better lives. When people start getting to a point where they thinking about, oh, we can just get rid of human intel and we can just got AI now, and now we can just run off of AI. Well, who gonna be paying for all that stuff when ain't nobody got no jobs, boo? Who? What's that movie, y'all? What's that movie? What's that movie? Uh, Lee Daniels movie with Precious, when she said, who gonna love me? Who gonna love me? Baby, who gonna love you and all your AI technology? Who gonna love you and all your AI stuff when you ain't got no job? Ain't nobody got no job. Who gonna pay for it, boo? Who gonna pay for it? Who gonna love you? I think y'all better do a little bit of balancing things out. I think y'all need to be thinking about some things. Yeah, y'all need to be thinking about some things, okay? I think both sides had pride. I want you guys to remember this one thing. Remember when COVID was going on and there was a lot of stuff that was happening? I think like corporate America they were prideful all those years, right? They was like, okay, we got such a stronghold that you need a job so bad that you're desperate, you're scared, you do anything. Most people was working under stress. Most people was going through a lot. So then when people finally got an opportunity to come up with all this technology and YouTube and TikTok and all this kind of stuff, people was like, forget y'all, we running our own businesses now. We got our own ideas. Tell corporate America we said goodbye. I think both sides kind of got beside themselves, right? It happens. It happens, it happens. But I really do believe that whatever you are doing, guys, always remember that AI should never replace human intelligence. After all, AI could not be what it is if it wasn't all those humans who gave all that spiritual intel. Because remember, we call ourselves humans. I don't like to call us humans. We're really spiritual beings. We are intelligent. Uh, we are the ones who give these great ideas. And if it wasn't for people giving all that feedback all those years through Facebook, remember all those surveys you was filling out, all those ideas which you were sharing. What can we do better? This and this and that. That was nothing but intel that was taken so that people can compute and put together AI. So always remember all of the worldwide data came from every spiritual human being. And you should never ever want to try to replace spiritual beings with, you understand what I'm saying, with AI. Because, boo, if people don't have capital and they don't have money and they don't have resources, and who gonna be paying for all that, boo? Who gonna be paying for all that? That's enough on that. Let's move on. UPS 34 cuts in the year to date as it turns around continues. CBS Atlanta. UPS will cut 34,000 jobs in the year to date as it turnarounds continue. UPS said in a regulatory filing that it has cut 34,000 positions and closed operations at 94 leased and owned buildings during the first time in 9 months of this year. As part of the turnaround plan, the company said that it is still looking to identify additional buildings to close. That's a lot going on, guys. That's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot. I don't have all the answers, guys, but I do know this. Back in the day when things were so hard for people, all those years when people in the 80s and 90s and people were trying to survive and people were trying to make it and there was so much turmoil going on and a lot of jobs were being taken away from Black people during that time and some Hispanics and Latinas and stuff. People had to find a way. People had to make a way out of no way and find a way. So I think a lot of this stuff just keeps us personally innovative. It keeps us personally on our feet, personally thinking, personally saying, what do I do? What's the next step? What's the next move? Because nothing's guaranteed, guys. It's just that simple. Nothing's guaranteed. You don't own a place, you really don't have no power. Your only power is your talent, your gift. And then you're going to have to find out ways of what you can do with that talent and gift when doors shut on you. You understand that? Look at all the federal employees also who've been laid off. It's a big thing going on. There are two things that I want to give, and I want you to hear me out closely so that you won't feel offended. There are two things that are happening when it comes to this. Everybody wants to blame Trump. I know it. But I want to say this. For many, many years, people have been prideful in the United States of America. I've seen people step on other people like it was nothing. I got this, we got this. It's in our culture, it's in our music, it's in our everything. You just heard Cardi B not too long ago, talking about people on food stamps, and people got in the uproar about that. People got upset about that because, like people said, most of your supporters are people who own food stamps. They'll literally go buy your $10 album. You understand what I'm saying? And they're making you rich while they're in poverty on food stamps and welfare. And to make those kind of comments like that, you understand what I'm saying? So in this nation, people have been very, very prideful for a long time. We got this. I got a job. You ain't got no job. Look at you. Look at me. Look at me. Look at this. I own this. You ain't nothing. And I think that God is shifting some things. A lot of people want to think this is a Trump thing. I'm sorry to tell you, I don't think everything is about Trump. I think God is shifting some things. I think there were people who didn't want to be on food stamps at all. That was including myself. We wanted to work. We had the valor. We had the experience. We have the licenses. But there were people trying to keep us down and make sure that we didn't go nowhere. And nobody wanted to be honest about that. Just how rough the workforce was. Just how people would fight you and kick you in the head out there. You understand that? Like, guys, it's real out there. We know corporate America don't be playing. It's real. It could be something as rough as that, or it could be more subtle, where people do things backhandedly and undercover, right up under your nose, and you don't even know. But it's real. It's real. People are fighting for their lives. They're fighting for livelihood. You know, some people really are living by faith and trusting God, and they ain't got all that kind of bad behavior. But everybody ain't trusting God, boo. Everybody like, you know. And so we really need to think about those things, right? Now, which leads me to my next subject. The airline's feeding its employees. Let's talk about it, guys. Money Watch, CBS. This was another story, October 28th. I'm covering these stories because these are important. These are things, the reason why I'm going over these stories, because you have to understand these are think tank stories. Remember, I'm IBK. I'm IBK. You understand what I'm saying? This is called the Creative Leadership Network, TCLN network. And what I like to do is I like to take these events out of the news and bring them to us so that we can think. It help us think. It help us ask questions. It help us put our heads together. It help us to get in those comments on YouTube. It help us to say, what are we going to be doing? Like, what initiatives are we going to bring to ourselves, to our cities, to our states, to the communities? Like, what are we going to be doing? Because, baby, sitting back depending on governments and what is that called? Jobs. Y'all, that's beginning to be played out. Like, it's beginning to be played out for real. So let me read this to you. Some airlines are stepping in to help feed air traffic controllers and other unpaid federal aviation workers who missed their first full paycheck on Tuesday, October the 28th, of the government shutdown. CBS News has confirmed that the United Airlines, Delta Airlines, and JetBlue is helping support essential workers who are going to get unpaid during the stalemate in Washington, D.C. Let me ask you a question. I don't know if you are air traffic controller or if you're a federal worker for the airlines or if you have maybe a family member. Let me ask you a question. Do you feel, with all the money that the airlines make, do you feel, and all the taxes that people pay that have to work for these airlines, do you feel that a meal ticket is enough during a government shutdown? Oh, you just give me a meal and I'm gonna be okay, and we're gonna keep working heartedly till we get our pay. Do you really feel that that's enough? Drop it in the comments. If you're watching Austin live, go ahead, shoot me up with an email at ABIKE. Again, that's A as in apple, B as in boy, IKE newsdesk@gmail.com. Let me know your thoughts, and I will make sure that in my next episode, I will share your comments with others. But do you really feel that that is enough? We got to do something different in this country, guys. That's all I'm saying. Now, not to be ungrateful, because there may be a lot of jobs that ain't thinking about feeding you nothing. It is what it is. Don't blame it on us, blame it on the government. So at least they're trying to do something. But my question is that there should be more of a contingency plan in place. There should be more of, when it comes to these airlines, there should be something in place, a budget in place for the military, for the airlines, for any type of federal workers or anything like that, that when these shutdowns happen, see, you can live without Taco Bell. If a shutdown happened and Taco Bell, you don't get paid at Taco Bell, baby, you can get, you okay. You okay. Make some tacos at home. You okay. You can live without a whole bunch of stuff, right? But there are certain things that must stay in place. They just must. They just must. You know, you can't live without the firemen, right? If something catch on fire, you gonna need them. So they gotta get paid. You can't just shut down. Like there's just certain things, right? And to me, I don't know about nobody else, but a meal ticket is just not enough. Because if you got a savings as a worker, let's just say this. Let's just say you work for the airlines and you've been saving. You got a little budget. You've been saving, put a little money aside. Well, guess what? You can feed your own self. What you need is a contingency place to make sure your bills is covered for a couple of months. And maybe if that contingency place was in place, you understand what I'm saying? Then when you get paid, you say, okay, I can give you that back. And then I can keep the rest of my paycheck. It got to be some type of exchange, right? It can't be where you have a setback. You need to be able to continue to flow, right? So I just wanted to throw some of those kind of ideas out there. There should be contingency plans in place where the workers can come and say, hey, I need to borrow against. You understand what I'm saying? So when my check do come in, it's like I was still paying my regular bills and then I get to keep the rest of my paycheck. But just to be out the balance and the loop altogether, it's too much money flowing around in America. Too much. Trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars. Even though we trillions of dollars in debt, I don't understand it. Y'all understand it. I don't do the math. Air traffic controllers have to have 100% focus 100% of the time. This is from the association president, Nick Daniels, who emphasized that financial pressure that are on his members. He said, and I am watching air traffic controllers going to work and I'm getting the stories. They're worried about paying for medicine for their daughter. I got the message from a controller that said, I'm running out of money. And if she doesn't get the medicine she needs, she dies. That's the end. That shouldn't even be a topic of the news. You should have a contingency fund to say, I don't think so. Here you go. Just as long as you bringing me proof and you ain't playing with us, trying to get over on us. Here you go. Here you go. Here you go. How much is the prescription? Here you go. So that's what I mean by, guys, we gotta get some better infrastructure in America. We gotta come up with some better ideas, some better plans as companies, as nonprofits, as the United States government, as local states, as city hall, and as individuals. Because remember, even as individuals, really other big grown people are really not responsible for us. If they do help out, it's according to their heart and because they have a desire to help out, not because they owe you to help you out. They already pay taxes. That's enough, right? So, guys, we're all responsible in this game. All of us. And I thought these stories were so suitable for this week, this episode, and this topic. Because it really reminds us that all of us have a responsibility in this great big United States of America. I hope that you have enjoyed this week episode. If you have, shoot me your comments over there at ABIKE News Desk at gmail.com. If you're watching by YouTube, go ahead and let me know what you're thinking in those comments. And if you would like to be a guest on this show, TCLN Network, and you have a story that you would love to share, go ahead and hit me up, right? Follow me on all socials right there. And guys, don't forget, do not forget, be a think tank. Be one of those type of people that you are thinking of a better life for you. If you by yourself, if you have a family, or whatever motivates you, whatever motivates you. But just think about it. You have millions and 300 and something million people in America. Just think if all 300 and something million people, I guess you could say subtract the little bitty kids, but let's just think if we all brought our ideas together, just how bright we really will be in the United States of America. And we stop stepping on each other, dogging each other out, wanting to take advantage of each other, wanting to prosper off each other and kick each other down. Just think what we could be, right? You guys have a blessed day. That's it for this week's episode. Make sure you join me next week. And as the famous former reporter would say, Dan Rather, courage, my friends, courage.
Thank you for tuning in to TCLN Network, Austin Public. TCLN Network is independently produced by IBK Media Productions. To support TCLN Network financially, visit paypal.me/TCLN Network, also TCLN Channel Podcast. To learn more about TCLN Network, visit thecreativeleadershipnetwork.com and follow on all socials TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram at IBK Media Works.